forward to get a hold of us. So he's coming forward to get on into my person, and he wants to grab the throw, choke, you name it, right? So when this skill happens, okay, we have to lower our level. That's the key. So we have to get below the person's hands and arms. The only way we're going to do that is not to bend over and drop our head below, but to actually drop our hips and butt forward. Okay, so that's number one. So we're just assuming we're here. He goes to put his hands on me. I drop my butt below, and so whatever hand or leg whatever leg I'm going to drive off of, steps and drives straight down the middle of my opponent. So I'm driving that lead leg through the middle of my opponent and between his or her legs, right down the center. So I lower my level here. I can even push the hands up if I want. I step, I'm going right down the middle here. All right, now my head ends up on the outside. Okay, so looking at this person, my right knee's down, and my head is on the left side for me, or my opponent's right side. I like to call it the outside. Okay? As I do that, my hands are going to then attack my opponent's legs, below the knee, here. Okay, now this technique in wrestling is taught a lot of different ways. Okay, but this is probably the most common technique, below the knees. So now I'm ready to drive my opponent to the mat, so I'm going to transition to my feet. I do that by bringing this trail leg around and drive right up into a stand-up position. So I'm in a standing athletic position, and I start to drive my opponent down by driving with my head and keeping this far knee. Here. When I land, I want to land in the letter position of a T, or perpendicular. So I don't get kneed anywhere that I don't want to get kneed. I let my opponent hit the mat first, and then I cover, and I would go into my either offensive tactics or defensive tactics or whatever. So again, start from this position. This person goes to put their hands on you, lower your level. Step and drive straight between the person. Right down the middle, right here. Heads to the outside. Attack the double leg, 2 legs below the knee. Transition to your feet. Drive with your head. As the person's falling down, move your feet so that you land in a T. All right, then you can go to whatever you're going to do next. All right, this is called a double leg takedown. Probably the most basic wrestling takedown, one of the most basic MMA takedowns you're ever going to see, but it is a high-level gross motor skill. So it takes some practice. Some of you are going to feel really weird. Here's some of the common mistakes. They get in here nice, and instead of transitioning to their feet, they think they can do this. And pull the person down. Terrible idea. You're going to pull the person on top of you, and you're probably going to end up getting the crap beat out of you. Okay, you don't ever want to pull the person down to the mat, to you. What you want to do is drive up and go through the person so that you can control the action. You want to pull the person down and hope they don't fall on top of you, because if they do, that's not good. So it's like risk assessment. You see this in wrestling where they practice it all the time with little kids, Pee-wee modified athletes, because they're not strong enough to stand up to their feet, so they pull the kid down, and sometimes it works, and a lot of times when you get older, it doesn't. Most of you are young adults. The truth is this: if you're going to use this technique, you've got to stand up and drive through the person. One more time, then we'll let you practice it. Lower your level as the person tries to grab you. And while you're practicing this grabbing action, let's go for the shoulders just to make sure we're being appropriate, right? Here, lower my level, my butt goes down. Through the middle, heads up. Double leg hands below the knee. Transition to your feet, trail leg comes around. You run up into a standing position, knock the person over with your head, fall down in a T, okay, and that's a finishing position. All right? You don't need to pick the person up in the air. You don't need to pick the person up in the air. If you've seen this in various disciplines, it is a technique, but for the purpose of this class, you want to keep it as safe as possible. Jake is trained, so he understands how to be a good partner here. He's letting me finish his position without resistance. but he's not like a wet noodle either. All right, so he's holding, he's kind of staying in that athletic position as I'm doing the technique, and then when I apply the proper pressure, he learns how to fall himself so he doesn't get hurt. Okay? If you're resisting, you're kind of being what I call a jerk. When the person does apply real pressure, you're gonna go down hard. Just so you're aware. Okay? So just keep that in mind. You gotta learn how to fall too, so without getting hurt, that's part of the skill. All right, if you're having issues with putting your hands on somebody, you can use the shot sleds to test that skill when it comes to time. All right? Questions on this? Okay, you get 2 minutes each person to work on this skill. It's going to take a lot of practice. Go ahead.